In today's episode, we'll dive into the impact of the EU carbon border adjustment mechanism on China's manufacturing industry. Hear insights from Greek ambassador to China on the integration of Chinese and Greek civilizations. Step into creative journey of Italian artists in Chongqing. And finally, check out the buzz around the riverside cycling path in Chongqing that's gone viral. Did you know, Kira, the world's first carbon tariff policy, EU's Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, CBAM, is set to officially be implemented in 2026. It sets a new green threshold for global manufacturing.
That's right. Amid the global wave of low-carbon transition, Chinese enterprises have been accelerating their green transformation for years, striving to stay ahead in green technologies and adapt to new trade rules.
Exactly. Next, we'll break down the concept and mechanics of CBAM and hear from Dmitry Debor, Chief Representative of Client Earth's Beijing office, to understand its impact and potential benefits for Chinese manufacturers.
The European Union's Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism is the world's first carbon tariff designed to curb greenhouse gas emissions. Slated to take effect in 2026, CBAM will impose a levy on imports based on their embedded carbon content. As one of the EU's principal trading partners, China's energy-intensive industries may incur additional tariff costs, eroding their competitiveness in the European market.
In the case of the CBAM, it's a system which helps to ensure that the extra cost that European producers are facing from their carbon emissions is somehow also reflected on the imports. For example, to Europe, you're going to be paying some kind of an adjustment cost, which should reflect the amount that European producers are paying as well. So what it means for Chinese exporters of steel is that if a Chinese steel producer is making green steel or low carbon, let's say low emissions steel, they could actually have an advantage over other competitors. So it suddenly becomes interesting to look at how much carbon emissions were actually involved in producing this steel. And so I think also Chinese steel makers are going to have an incentive to produce environmentally friendly steel, which is a good thing. That'll help China's steel transition to move along faster.
Carbon trading has become a cornerstone of the global low-carbon transition. Under a capped emission framework, companies that cut emissions most efficiently can monetize surplus allowances, while high-energy users must purchase credits to avert penalties. As the cap tightens each year, every enterprise is ultimately driven to upgrade their low-carbon technologies, creating a sustained market incentive for ongoing innovation.
It becomes possible to trade between the businesses in those sectors and to find the lowest cost emission reduction. For example, we know aviation, so airplanes, are extremely hard to decarbonize. It's basically impossible right now. Another sector like steel making, for example, or maybe the power sector, could have much lower cost emission reductions. And so they could then sell their emission allowances to the aviation sector. So you might see that the aviation sector will have to buy and spend money on other sectors to decarbonize faster.
Recently, the first Graduate Students Forum on Chinese and Greek Civilizations was held at Southwest University. Young scholars for both countries exchanged ideas inspired by two ancient civilizations.
It's a beautiful collision of cultures, sparkling fresh creativity and injecting new energy into the future of globalization.
Exactly. Dr. Evgenius Kalipris, ambassador of the Hellenic Republic to China, echoed this view and emphasized how the wisdom of Greek and Chinese civilizations can contribute to global development. Let's hear his thoughts next.
Recently, the first Graduate Students Forum on Chinese and Greek Civilizations was held at Kelkip Hall of Southwest University. Titled Bridging Ancient Wisdom, Inspiring Future Scholars, it featured Chinese and international students sharing insights on the two civilizations' rich legacies.
Today's forum is for me, a very important event because it combines students who are our hope for tomorrow and also puts forward the idea of studying our two global civilizations. I attribute the value of today's forum to the fact that our two civilizations, through the millennia of their existence, have proved that they can be the locomotive for a bright future. Nowadays, we have the opportunity to put them to work together. They have met in the past many times. Greeks and Chinese have met in the past. But nowadays, it's even easier, all of us, to study the importance, the depth of our civilizations, and synthesize, put all the great achievements together in a way that will allow us to move forward, and move forward in a society that is global. We are part of a global society. We need to understand that, we need to appreciate that. And as members of a global society, we can contribute not to the future of the global society, we can contribute to the future of humankind. As long as human beings are on Earth, I believe this is the most important task they have, to contribute to the future. And this is what today's conference has been offering, a contribution to tomorrow.
Chongqing is a city of both surreal landscapes and everyday charm. During the Let's Create a Global Creative Masters in Chongqing event, Italian artists were fascinated by the city's 8D architecture and rich Bayou culture. Kira, if you were a creator, what would move you most about Chongqing?
I think what makes Chongqing magical is its sense of fusion. Cyber skyscrapers alongside ancient stone carvings, spicy hot pot culture blending with serene mountain views. These contrasts are great sources of inspiration.
Exactly. Thanks for sharing that. In this segment of iChongqing, let's explore how Chinese and Italian intangible cultural heritage is being revitalized in today's world.
Recently, 7 Italian artists began their cultural exploration in Chongqing. In an 8-day journey, they visited 8 districts and counties, deeply immersing themselves in the local culture and characteristics to seek inspirations for their creations. What's the meaning of this journey for cultural exchange, and how will this experience influence their creative process?
Actually, they have a lot of in common because they have both a lot of tradition, and they have, the young people, don't want to follow the tradition anymore. So probably the most interesting part will be like to share and to change, the young people of Italy to the young people of China, and maybe see if they want to follow the other tradition, because sometimes you get bored because you know stuff. Maybe with a mix of the culture, it will be interesting again to see the ancient history and the forgot tradition. So when you travel, I think you have to delete your idea and then just go with the flow and get inspired by the world and also from the different point of view. So I will suggest to forget all the anxious and the idea that we already have about China, and just to be open-minded and get through the culture and see what has to offer. So I believe my colleagues have also other fun part and fun ideas that I've seen through their journey.
Recently, a TikTok video by Tomorrow World went viral overseas. The vlogger rides through the riverside bike path in Jiangting Park at night, enjoying the breeze, passing landmarks like the Qianximen Bridge, the dazzling lights of the Hangye Cave, and the Raffle City Chongqing skyline.
Alex, this route perfectly combines leisure and scenery. I've got to check it by myself.
Absolutely. Chongqing never fails to surprise us. Overseas netizens are loving it, calling the views incredibly healing. Let's take a look. That's all for today's show. Thanks to Kira for joining me, and thank you all for watching.
Thanks, Alex, and thank you all for your support. Have a great day.
Let's meet showcasing new Chongqing to the world. I'm your host, Alex. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
And Kira, goodbye.